Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. Woohoo! It is day 34 in the 100-day challenge, and which means that we've crossed the 1/3 threshold. This video is going to be relatively short because it's pretty straightforward. Whether or not you can replicate this at home, I guess, will depend on whether or not you have an artist canvas like this. So if you are a regular viewer, you may have seen me show this in its rolled up state when I got it through a recent thrift haul. I paid 50 cents for it. The size is 18 inches tall. 18 inches tall by, goodness me, I forgot how long it is, but I'd say 24 inches. So basically what I did, let me put some objects down to hold this in place. Okay, so what I did, of course, it had this border, and it was all rolled up, and you can see that there are some cracks in it and so on. That does not concern me. So it had this white border. In case you are interested, the name of the piece is October Morn by Robert Wood. And I noticed that it was done in, I would say that's 1956. So it's been around a while. So of course I cut these strips off because you don't need to, you all know how to use scissors. You don't need to watch me use mine. And of course, I'm going to save them because they are little pieces of primed canvas. And we know that they could become, you know, this could be the basis for a snippet roll. It could be covers for mini journals, you know. So there's gold right here. Okay, so what I did is on the back side, I basically, okay, well, let me, okay, so if we think journal cover, that means that the imagery on the right-hand side is more valuable or more desirable to us than what is on the left-hand side, because of course that becomes the back cover in a setup, you know, the way we do things here in, you know, the Western way sort of binding books. So what I did was I flipped it over and I divided it. I measured out. Here's my longest ruler. Okay, what I did was I measured. Okay, I said it's 18 inches tall, so easy breezy. I made marks at the 9-inch mark. Then width-wise, it is 12, so it's 24 inches wide. So easy. I made marks I cut it into, I marked it into quarters. Now I'm going to cut it. Here's where you get to watch scissor work. And of course, that will make this much more easy to handle, much more usable, much easier to put under something perhaps and flatten it. Okay, so I'll do this one as well. Now, of course, depending, if you maybe have, like, don't cut up your Renoir, but if you do have some borderline, maybe not so valuable or not so beautiful canvas that you maybe are tired of and you want to rotate it off your walls or are at garage sales or thrift stores or wherever, and can find something that's kind of attractive, and like this, even though I cut it in half, this is still good. There's enough of this here that you can tell what the intention was. This is obviously a little body of water and some trees. So that becomes the journal cover. I'll use my coaster as a weight. This part is all right too. Again, you know, most of the real intense pattern is going to be on the back, but that's okay. I mean, I think with trees, you can't exactly turn them upside down. But again, if this is just a substrate and you intend to cover it with all sorts of other things, then it doesn't really matter what, you know, this could be dogs playing poker, and it wouldn't matter because it would be covered. So that's what that half looks like. So then I was thinking, well, okay, I could obviously, I could get, you know, 2 more pieces out of this, and that would be fine. Oh, this ends up being, this was on the left-hand side because I had it upside down. I thought it should be more tree-y, that's Tree hyphen Y, tree-y on this side than on this side. So I could cut that like that, and that would be the bottom one, the bottom half. That's still not too bad. I then wondered, and I thought, well, let's get rid of that first. Let's cut this off because we know what we're doing there. And if I would have realized I had reversed, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the other option could have been to kind of figure on a tall skinny. A tall skinny. So what would that be? I think those are typically, well, they accommodate 11-inch paper, so they must be about, well, I don't know, 11.5, I guess, by 8.5, so say 9, maybe. So this is 4.5. And of course, allowing for a spine. You know, that almost looks like, that was a fold there. That almost looks like a natural break without even having to, you know, score it or shape it or mold it in any way. So I think what I'm going to do, and this is fighting my, this is fighting my natural urge to deal with it. Just deal with it. Cut it in half, cut it up, and you know what you've got. I think that I'm going to leave this intact because I think that would be lovely. That would be so lovely. And for, well, 3 years now, I've been collecting stuff for a tree journal. I never imagined it would be a tall skinny, but who knows? It could be. Okay, that's the plan. I'm leaving this intact for the time being till I work out all those, till I figure that, do the math and maybe do the signatures first and figure out how, you know, how big a spine I need. But yeah, so I don't know that I have much more to say to you about this than that. Let's just imagine where this would be. So if I did, see, and another thing I'm famous for is making a cover too big and then having to trim. Yeah, so I'm trying to be a little more like get and, you know, measure twice and cut once. So that is kind of how that, I don't want to make any sharp creases because who knows what I might be doing. But that would basically be the view of the, and then what did I say? About 9-ish, because the paper is 8.5. Okay, that's 9. So that would turn under about, well, again, have to allow something for, a spine. Okay, so pretend that, like, would that not just be the cat's meow? And for you youngins in the crowd, that means really nice, really good. It's right up there with hunky dory. Okay, but I'm not doing any cutting till I know for sure. So anyway, that is, yeah, that is the video for day 34. I love this one also. This one is a bit, but again, I'm not gonna complain about any of these because, as I say, it is just the base, and can certainly become anything I want it to be. I think what I will do, though, for these, well, for all the pieces, is put them under, you know, one of my other cutting mats, or, you know, somewhere to try to help flatten it out a bit, because it's always easier to visualize when you don't have something like that going on. And maybe because of the 3 pieces, this is maybe my least favorite, but who knows? It could grow on me. Maybe I'll begin using this one first. Obviously, there's some, you know, stability to it. So it's probably just a matter of picking, you know, fabric or paper for the inside. Maybe deciding on, you know, pockets or whatever, and then just, oh, see, and instead of, back to this one, let this become, you know, a little, what do you call it, side tuck. And frankly, if once the decorating is done on any of these pieces, see, this one, it looks in the best condition because it is the lightest. So any, like, there don't really even seem to be any cracks in it. I thought that at some points, there are some points where you can see there's some weakness to the canvas. So I don't know if it was damaged at some point, but again, nothing to worry our little heads about. Anyway, I was saying that with these others, where, this is actually probably the worst right here, where there are cracks or some damage showing, if I choose, or if I decide, well, you know, that really is just detracting from the overall look, that is easy enough to touch up with some, maybe some gelato, or tiny specks, just little tiny, teeny weeny, the smallest little brush strokes with some acrylic paint on it that you can possibly imagine. Because number one, you don't want whatever you're doing, see, here's a kind of a threadbare part. You don't want whatever you're doing to scream, look here, look here, look here. You just want to cut back the white of the high contrast. So on something like this, and in fact, this is black. Again, I do this very gingerly. Yeah, even the right colored felt. You can see that for those those strokes I barely made, it already looks better here than it does here or here. Do you see what I mean there? So I can do a few more. I could pull out, you know, look for a brown thing. Sometimes it's also good to do blending with your fingertip, because then it sort of spreads the color around, and it's not like, oh, somebody drew a line here with a black pen, which of course we don't want that to happen either. So I am tickled pink. I'm glad I chose to do this as a project, because now that I've sort of unrolled it and done some prep work on it, it means that I'm more likely to reach for it the next time I need a cover or a project. So, how are we doing for time? Oh, this is a short one, so I might as well do my little commercial. If you're finding value here, if you're finding maybe some unique content, maybe some things you've seen or heard that you haven't heard elsewhere, then by all means, please consider subscribing. It would help me out immensely. It would give me the will to go on. It would, yeah, it basically is just some, you know, pat on the back, atta girl kind of thing. Yeah, we like what you're doing. Keep doing it. That would very much be appreciated. I've also started saying in the last few videos that I think that the first milestone that I want to recognize in the subscriber number category with a giveaway would be the 500 person mark. So we because I'm doing my thing, but you guys have to do your thing too. I think that together we can do it, and I promise a really desirable prize. So more about that as I assemble it and so on. In the meantime, yeah, we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.